on March the 9th at 4:43 p.m. I'll start with roll call. Alder Dorf.
Here.
Alder Corpus Dax.
Here.
Alder Johnson. Galvin is here. I'll entertain a motion for the agenda.
Move to approve. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And then I'll entertain a motion on the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
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 And it passes unanimously. On to regular business. Number 1, consideration with possible action on the request to fill the following replacement positions and all subsequent vacancies resulting from internal transfers. A is a parking building technician out of Public Works. Staff?
Well, I don't have any do we have any questions?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Do any of the alders have any questions for staff on the parking building technician position?
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That passes unanimously. And sub B, neighborhood compliance inspector out of community and economic development. Do any alders have any questions for staff on this?
No.
I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And that passes unanimously.
Thank you.
On to item number 2, consideration with possible action on a request for reconsideration received from the GBPPA on the decision issued on grievance number 20-005 filed by the Green Bay Professional Police Association regarding the removal of an officer from the K-9 unit. The committee may convene in closed session pursuant to state statute. Any thoughts from the committee?
Can we just get an overview? I mean, what is it? I guess I'm a little bit unfamiliar with a reconsideration in this process.
Sure. I don't know if that'd be Director Falls or Attorney Mather.
It'd be Attorney
That's
Mather.
actually going to be me.
All right.
Hang on. There we go. Hi. Okay. So there was a mistake actually in the factual findings. One of the findings stated that both parties agreed that the first portion of the grievance was resolved by Chief Smith rescinding the original letter removing Officer Lynch from the K-9 unit, and the attorney for the union sent me an email stating, after receiving the decision, stating that they actually did not agree to that prior to the last meeting and actually held the opposite conclusion. And so we concluded that the best way to do it would be for the committee to go back into closed session. We'll discuss whether the first part of the grievance, as whether there was so the first issue, just to clarify, is whether he was removed from the unit for cause. And so we'll go back and have you guys go back into closed session and look at that issue again and determine what needs to happen with that, because the parties do not agree that it was resolved when the letter was rescinded.
Okay. Can we, would there be any need for us to hear from either party as to their stance on this? Or should we just go straight into closed session?
I don't know how I can make a decision going straight into closed session, since I have no idea why they're saying, unless we just have to accept, okay, they didn't understand what this is about.
I think it would be up to the committee whether you want to hear from the parties or just go right into closed session.
I think, personally, I'd like to hear what either side has to say, if they have anything to say. before we do go into closed session.
Yeah, I'd agree. And since this is a hearing, do we need to open the floor?
I would say I think we should have to. Yes.
All right, motion to open the floor to hear from interested parties.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No. That passes unanimously. The floor is open. I guess we can go with the GB PPA first. They hear an explanation for their concern. You need to unmute yourself, Phil.
Okay, thank you. Good evening. Can you hear me okay?
I can.
Okay, be real short. And we submitted a document on February 4th, 2021, addressed to the Personnel Committee, basically explaining our position for the reconsideration. And I guess if you have that document, it's written by our attorney. It's probably better than I can explain it. I didn't see it in your agenda packet. I printed off the agenda packet. It's lengthy. I want to make sure I didn't miss it. If you have it, I'll certainly field any questions on it, but I don't feel the need to read it to you or highlight portions of it. I think it summarizes our opinion on why the association feels you should address the issue of cause and how cause is defined, which was at the heart of the issue for the removal grievance. If you have that document, if you could check.
We do not have that document in our packet.
Did we used to have it? This was at the meeting where we talked about it originally? We had it? Are you saying, Phil?
It is in the packet.
It's in there? All right.
Isn't it? I apologize. Detective Scanlon, is it the February 11th letter? Is that?
No, the February 11th document was regarding the retaliation grievance. That's not what we're asking to be reconsidered. We're asking this. The committee never made a determination on cause, what the definition was cause was. And that was the February 4th letter. That was at the heart of when you basically explained that we never came to agreement with the city on settling the first portion of this grievance, which was the removal. The February 4th document explains that. And, it basically says the purpose of a grievance is to obtain your interpretation of the labor agreement. And that it was our position that because the city management at the PD decided to rescind that letter, we still wanted your interpretation because at any given day, this could happen again. A dog could get hurt tomorrow. And is the removal of the removal of the dog cause? We wanted your interpretation of what cause meant because that was actually at the heart of all the debate. So I don't know if I can make a request. If you don't have that document, my request would be respectfully that we provide you with that. You get a chance to review that, and then maybe we can address this at a later date. I don't know if that's acceptable with your rules of order. I'd like you to have that document to make a decision on rather than me try to give you a layman, non-lawyerly explanation for it. It's a 3.5, it's a lengthy document that addresses that our attorney Cermelli provided the personnel committee with on February 4th, explaining our position on the reconsideration. I think you guys should see it.
So you're saying he provided it to us already once or no?
It was emailed on February 4th to, I believe, myself, I'm sorry, I pronounced it wrong, Maher.
Mather.
And I think Director Falls. So I think it was submitted to the personnel committee through Attorney Mather. I think CC was Director Falls and I was CC'd. So I would request that you guys get a chance to review that before you, I don't know how you can tackle the reconsideration without seeing our point.
Yeah, absolutely.
I am looking back. I don't see it on our February 9th. It was not on that agenda. And then February 23rd, I'm not sure what it's called, but there's nothing with that date on it.
Yeah, and frankly, I think it'd be not very beneficial to your time if I give you some oral argument to explain the document. I think it would just be best if you see it, read it, and I don't feel the need to make an oral argument. If the city chooses to, that's their decision. But I think it'd be best if you just get it and use that as your analysis on our.
All right.
So then the best thing for us to do is move to delay this till our next meeting.
Unless the committee, unless staff can come up with that document and get it to us now and you want to read through it and discuss it, or.
I do have it. I will email it to you right now. Just give me 1 second.
Okay. And does the committee want to read this in closed session and then, or read it and then ask questions, or how would the committee like to do that? Would you like time to digest this and get at it in 2 weeks?
Well, I guess the other piece of it is when we're looking at, I mean, this is a reconsideration. And it seems to me the suggestion here is that we didn't answer the initial question. And if that's the case, I'm curious if staff wants to weigh in with an additional legal opinion, as they've done with these others, that actually gets at the heart of the actual question.
Right. Because if I understand what Phil's saying, it seems like the bargaining unit is looking for us to make a decision going forward. Would any chief in the future have the right to remove a canine officer because her dog is no longer part of the team? And I guess they're looking for, if I understand that correctly.
Well, and not just that, and because there was no plan to add an additional member of the team, because it could happen that a dog might not, something might happen to a dog, but the person still is going to get another dog, but the number was capped at 5. Right. And so this would be the 6th one. I mean, there was more to it than just, I think there was more to it.
Right. Right. And that's why I'd at least like to look it over. But I'll go with the wishes of the committee. Do you want to take a look at it and see if we can tackle it tonight? Or do you want to look at it on a little bit more downtime and then discuss it in 2 weeks?
Brian, what do you want to do?
Honestly, I think I'd prefer to hold. I don't like being rushed when we have lengthy documents to review.
Yeah, it's not lengthy. Refreshing.
Okay.
Okay. I keep refreshing. It just is not here. It is. Okay. Here it is.
It should be coming through momentarily.
We got it.
So hopefully you all received it. It's a relatively short read because of the margins and those sorts of things. I would also suggest that the discussion is much more narrow than than all of the issues that are covered in the letter. Like you said, Alder Galvin, as staff, there are some points that we would like to bring up, but those are things we were discussing in closed session.
Can I make a comment or no?
Sure, go ahead.
This brief by our attorney came out as a conversation between attorneys. This is the Personnel Committee's attorney, Ms. Mather, and our attorney. It might seem short to her. She understands legalese a lot better than maybe non-lawyers. I see 7 pages with a lot of supporting documents and a lot of legal understanding, basically kind of defining our position on what we want the Personnel Committee to do. It's really not an argument, just an argument of what we want you to rule as. It's a request for you to make a determination of the interpretation of our contract. So going forward, we don't have to be back in front of this committee again on the same issue. Whether your issue is for or against our opinion on the matter. I don't know how long your closed sessions last. The document is full of legalese. By now you might have had a chance to peruse it. The association, the association has no concern about the timeline. This is a matter from this matter is already a year old. So if we would not oppose to returning to hear that, give you an opportunity to have a thorough analysis, and we can return at a later date and get your opinion.
Alder Dorf?
So you're talking about our committee making a decision. If we make a decision, though, that's counter to what the decision is you'd wish us to make, would this then move on to a different process, like arbitration or mediation?
That would depend. We, as an association, we'd have the right to do the fair representation analysis, and we could file for an arbitration on the matter if we chose to. We'd have that option.
All right. Me personally, after reading through this, it'd be nice for us, I think, to take the time to read through it, but also to afford the city attorney's office and human resources the opportunity to maybe write up a brief with their counter arguments that we could read through. Director Falls?
Yeah, if I can go. I guess from the city's perspective is that I think that brief was pertaining to removal for cause, and I believe we've already addressed that. What the union is asking for is they're asking for a declaratory ruling from the committee. That's not the purpose of the committee. The committee is to remedy the Officer Lynch. Officer Lynch was asking to be put back on the K-9 team. He's been put back on the K-9 team. That is the city's position. I think, though, that the committee should take as much time as they need to read their brief and our brief, and it can come back to the next committee meeting.
Alder Dorf?
But what I hear you saying is because we talked a long time about cause. I remember that. But what I hear you saying is this really isn't germane to what our committee should be deciding. This is the kind of ruling that kind of goes beyond what our committee should be deciding. It goes beyond the actual grievance. And we're trying to make a decision about all future instances like this. Is that what you're saying?
That is what I'm saying. So a grievance is when a member or multiple members want to get a remedy. They feel like they've been wronged. They've gone through the process. We've decided that we would like to settle this. We put them back on the K-9 team. There's been no injury to Officer Lynch. The grievance is over. That is the city's position. The committee is able to review that in the union's position and make a determination if they still have to make a finding or if the grievance has been settled. And when it came to the retaliation or discrimination, I mean, the city, obviously you guys ruled and said there was no discrimination. And the issue was that the committee found that the union agreed that the removal for cause was over. And they're obviously here saying that it was not. So if the position from the city is that if you wanted to amend that to say that the union does not agree that the first issue is not resolved, and the city believes it's resolved, and you have the same finding, the city's okay with that as well. We just believe that this grievance has been resolved and that there's no reason to go forward. So they either can file a declaratory ruling with the WERC or any other type of claim with the WERC for retaliation or discrimination. But that should not be in front of the Personnel Committee.
And do I still have the floor, Alder Galvin?
Yes.
Yes, I would agree with that. I felt like we settled this, we handled this. The remedy was he was put back on. We did not choose to deal with the cause part then. I don't think we're going to I personally do not want to deal with the cause part now. We did deal with the grievance. I don't think this is appropriately in front of us. I don't think we're the right place to make this decision. That would be my opinion.
Any thoughts, Alder Corpus Dax or Johnson?
Yeah, I'm kind of agreeing with what Alder Dorf said. We made the decision. So I don't know if we want to, I guess, make that amendment that Director Falls had said, and, this is what the city, what was it that you said, Director Falls? Basically, like this was the city's position, but
So
the police association doesn't agree. Like they have this other.
Yeah, so the understanding, and I understand where the union's coming from. They responded to Attorney Mather and said that they did not agree that the for cause portion was agreed upon or was resolved. that was my understanding as well. It's just the city's position is, we do believe it's been resolved, and we do believe there isn't retaliation or discrimination. So if the committee would like to take more time and come back next week to resolve that, I believe that is what the issue we have right now is, do you believe that the for cause has been already addressed because he was put back on the K-9 team? And do you believe that there was discrimination? And the city believes both issues have been resolved because he was put back on the K-9 team. There's no injury left. So if the committee needs to take more time and wants to review and make sure that they review everything in the union's argument, we have no issue with that.
Director Falls, if stated to the team, and if the committee had made a decision that he either should be put back on the team or not put back on the team, would that be setting a precedent as our interpretation of the contract? And would that then guide decisions going forward with the K-9 officers in those regards, in those same circumstances?
Yeah, so I guess the city's position is that that's not for the committee to decide. The committee doesn't interpret the contract whenever there isn't injury. You wait until someone brings a grievance, and then you address the injury from there. Now that it's been addressed, you don't make a declaratory ruling. That's for the union to go to the WERC to file for that.
And that's, well, and that's what I'm asking though. Had we had to make a decision, would that have been what would have happened?
If the city would not have rescinded the letter and this would have
Correct.
went forward and you would have made a decision, that then
Yes.
would have then, whatever decision you made, the city or the union could have then brought it to arbitration, and if they didn't, that then would have been binding, yes.
Okay. So because in essence, it was rescinded, it never got to the point where we had to make a decision. Thus, the city feels we shouldn't be making a decision now on it.
That is correct. And the union would like for you to make essentially a declaratory ruling, which the personnel committee does not make.
If we side with the city in this case, then would they have any grounds to take this to arbitration or beyond?
That's up to them. They could. Our position, we would either address it with the WERC or the arbitrator in the sense that we could file for dismissal. There'd be other options for us, but that's up to the union. That's not our decision.
So they don't necessarily need us to make a decision to decide if they want to take this a step further.
That's kind of true with anything.
True, but I just getting my things straight in my head here. So
yeah, so essentially, the city's position is he's back on the K-9 team, and if the committee then rules that it's been resolved, they're then going to arbitration saying, we're going to argue that the remedy or his grievance isn't resolved and make a decision on what should happen. That's what they'd be doing. Can I ask
Detective Scanlon? And I'm trying to remember, and it's easier just to ask you. Was the bargaining unit looking for any kind of compensation for Officer Lynch for anything that the bargaining unit believes occurred when he was removed temporarily from the team?
Not that I recall.
Okay. All right, thank you. Alder Johnson?
I guess the piece that I'm struggling with maybe a little bit right now is recognizing where the personnel committee's responsibilities start and end. And I appreciate the verbal explanation that Director Fultz has given us. Is this documented anywhere?
From the city's perspective, if you look at the grievance and what's outlined there, it's for one person or one member or multiple members to address their injury. There's nothing in there that talks about declaratory ruling for the personnel committee in the contract. That is for the WERC to handle a declaratory ruling, which the city or the union can do at any time. We can say we want a declaratory ruling on this language, and that would be for them to resolve, not for the personnel committee. So you won't find that in the contract.
Okay.
Can I ask you, Detective Scanlon, Detective Scanlon, why did you think we would we would do this? This really is outside our realm, but you must have had some feeling that we might be willing to do this. Why did you think that?
Well, I don't know that this is outside your realm. Keep in mind, one question I'd like the community to ask is why didn't they receive this document? It was authored by us to you, addressed to Personnel Committee on February 4th. Why didn't you receive it? Why were you not provided it? And why did you not get a chance to review it prior to this hearing? I would like you to ask that question. And I think that we, as the plaintiff, as the grievant, we had a hearing, we gave testimony. The city gave testimony that was contradictory to the decision to give Matt Lynch's assignment back. They argued for a length of time that it was cause, and then after the hearing decided to give him his assignment back, which was inconsistent with their own argument. And we are asking the Personnel Committee to address the point of the grievance. Our association represents all members of our department, not just Matt Lynch. We believe that there was no cause to remove him, and that simply putting him back on did not address the fact that there was never cause to start with. We are not addressing at all the retaliation portion. We raised that issue. You made a determination. That is not why we're here. We are strictly here to ask you to reconsider and make a decision on cause. Regardless of the city's decision to reapply him, it would save the city money. It would save our association money if we knew what the interpretation of that contract language was. It's our right as the grievant to bring it to you, and we are telling you we are not set because Director Faulds and the chief determined to give the Matt Lynch's job back. That we don't think that we are telling you that we want your answer. We want to hear what you have to say about it, so we can have a final resolution going forward. Again, that's all in that February 4th document. It cites some legal reason to support that. Certainly, Director Faulds has given you the city's legal reason to not hear that. I would plead you'd want to know our position. And if you know our position and still agree with Director Faulds, then that's your decision and we'll respect that. But I would hope that you would not hastily make a decision that you don't want to hear what we have to say. We're your employees and we want you to understand our position. And that's why we gave you that document. I guess I don't understand why you never received it.
So further, so the grievance was about one person. It was about the Officer Lynch, right? That's what we were deciding on very narrowly. We were deciding on that grievance. This is a bigger issue. This really isn't about what we originally decided on. I'm hearing you say, and I could be wrong, that you'd like us at least to take some time and look this over and read it and digest it and come back and then make a decision, not make a decision right now. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I would respectfully ask that you review our brief, February 4th brief on why we'd like you to make a determination for cause. And if you come back after having a chance to see it, we took the time to provide it for you. And if you make a determination ever having a chance to have a legal analysis and certainly time to get the city's counter briefs and read those and make a determination. That's all we're asking for.
Well, I'm not sure if we even need the city's counter briefs at the point. The point would be we read this and then decide if we feel we need to move forward, which we make that decision at the next meeting. And briefs may be written or may not be written, because I don't want to put work onto our law department if our decision is going to be no, we're not. We will look at this, but we don't know what the decision is. And I see that Director Faulds has his hand raised.
The city has already addressed whether he should be removed for cause or not for cause. Like, our position is he should have been removed for cause, and we could back that up. We settled the grievance, and I've told you today that it's not ripe for the Personnel Committee to make a decision. That's our stance. We don't have to write a brief.
Okay.
Yeah.
We don't need another brief. Good.
If anything, we would need, if we do decide to consider the bargaining unit's request, then I guess we would need some kind of a brief explaining why the city doesn't think we should be reconsidering it. I do have another question for Detective Scannell. how many people, since the decision you're asking us to make is about K-9 officers, of which there are now 6, but with the latest contract, apparently Officer Lynch falls into kind of and I don't know if any other officers fall into a certain box that doesn't apply to the other K-9 officers because they came on after this. The contract was changed. Contract was different when Lynch and Officer Merrill and others became K-9 officers. But since that time, the contract has changed. And so I'm wondering, how many individuals do you think this narrow box applies to? Are there any other officers out there besides Lynch that could be affected by this if we do decide to make a decision?
I can tell you certainly that Officer Rod Reitz was a K-9 handler prior to 2016. Matt Lynch.
Is Reitz still a K-9 officer?
He is.
Okay.
I would have to look at a seniority roster. I don't. We have a lot of members. I don't know exactly when people are hired. I don't think Officer. I think that's it right now. Officer Merrill took a community policing spot. He would have applied. I think it's just Lynch and Reitz.
Okay. I will entertain a motion.
We have to move to close the floor.
All right. I'll entertain a motion on
I'll
that.
second that.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That passes unanimously. And then I'll entertain a motion as to how the committee would like to move forward. Attorney Mather. Go ahead.
I just want to state really quickly, it is entirely my fault that the committee did not get that brief. I just didn't forward it to Sarah to put it on the agenda. It just slipped through the cracks. It was an honest mistake, and I do apologize to Detective Scanlon and the union and everybody for making that mistake and not getting it to you sooner.
All right. I appreciate that, Attorney Mather. Okay. A motion?
I would make a motion that we hold until the next meeting to take up discussion on this matter, to allow members of the committee to review that particular brief from the union's attorney.
Okay. I'll second that motion. Is there anything that anybody would like to see if this does pass? I mean, just want to review the brief from the bargaining unit, or would you like any more subsequent information from staff explaining their point of view of why we shouldn't even consider this? Or are you just satisfied with getting the brief from the bargaining unit?
Well, I think staff has indicated they don't have anything additional to add. And of course, they can correct me if I'm wrong on that front. But so I think we've got their position. I think it's important that we are thorough with our work and that we do take the opportunity to read both sides of the argument here. And I think it's pretty apparent that we haven't seen the other one. If there's no time sensitivity to this and there's no objection from staff that we hold this over, I'm more than comfortable doing that and making sure that, like, the last thing I want to do is make any type of rush decision because we're missing certain pieces of information, whether they're relevant or not. So I would feel personally way more comfortable making a decision on this, having had the opportunity to read it and think through this.
Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. Or nay. Any opposed say nay. No. Nobody? All right. That passes then. So this will be held until the next personnel committee meeting. On to item number 3, consideration with possible action on grievance number 2020-006 filed by the regarding SWAT team overtime compensation. Staff?
Alter Gavin, and I apologize, it was last minute again, but I did send you a script.
Yes, I do have that? All right. Yes, and I actually looked at it. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay, we're on to item number 3, consideration with possible action on the grievance filed by Officer Luke Lonsbach regarding overtime pay. This grievance is before the Personnel Committee meeting at this time on the mutual agreement of the parties for extensions of time rather than at the meeting that was first available after filing. This is a quasi-judicial matter. It is the goal of the Personnel Committee to provide and conduct a hearing that is fair in form, appearance, and substance. To ensure that this hearing satisfies these goals, each member of the Personnel Committee, please confirm the following by stating, I confirm. Number 1, I do not have an interest or conflict of interest in this matter. Alder Dorf,
I confirm.
Alder Johnson,
Confirm.
Alder Corpus Dax. I read your lips and you said, I confirm. And I confirm that also. Number 2, I have not received any communication from any person or party about this matter. Alder Dorf,
I confirm.
Alder Johnson,
I confirm.
Alder Corpus Dax,
I confirm.
and I also confirm that. A decision will be made based upon the labor agreement between the City of Green Bay and the Green Bay Professional Police Association in effect as of the date of the event complained of. Personnel Committee will either announce its decision tonight or take that matter under advisement and have a decision at the next committee meeting. The Personnel Committee will make findings of fact and conclusions of law based upon the record before it. At this time, the following materials have been submitted into the record. Number 1, Green Bay Professional Police Association Contract Violation Information Form for grievance number 20-006 dated December 1, 2020. Interdepartmental correspondence from Chief of Police Officer Lonsbach in response to grievance number 20-006 dated December 17, 2020. Number 3 is a GBPPA Contract Violation Information Form Step 2 for grievance number 20-006 dated January 6, 2021. Number 4, Human Resources Director Joseph Falls Step 2 grievance response for grievance number 20-006 dated January 30th, 2021. Number 5, findings of fact and conclusions of law from the Personnel Committee concerning SWAT team minimum call-in time dated November 27, 2018. Number 6, Director Falls Step 3 grievance response to the Personnel Committee regarding grievance number 20-006. Pursuant to Section 3.8.3 of the Labor Agreement, the committee may decide whether to hold a fact-finding hearing as either party requesting a hearing at this time. Detective Scanlon.
The association is not requesting a fact-finding hearing. Thank you.
Okay, and Director Falls.
We are not.
All right. Okay. Okay, do any of the parties would like to make arguments in support of the written submissions? Detective Scanlon.
Thank you. The association doesn't have any intention of making the oral argument. We've supplied our grievance documents. We haven't had a chance to review the city's rebuttals to our grievance, and we will leave the documents as they stand in the Personnel Committee. Thank you.
Okay, Director Falls.
Yeah, we have the same position. Nothing to add.
Okay, then. I guess the committee then should move into closed session to discuss this situation.
Make a motion that we move into closed session.
Hold on a second. Detective Scanlon.
Yeah, I don't know how long you're planning to be in there. Can we just be notified of your answer, or do you want us to stick around? I see the sun shining in the background. I'll gladly wait I know in the past you've typically told us after or sent us your answer in writing. We're fine either way.
Okay, I think we can do that if the rest of the committee is okay with that.
I'm okay with that.
All right. Yeah, I'd say you can head out and go enjoy the day.
Thank you for your time.
All right.
Have a good night.
All right. All right. Then Alder Dorff, do you want to read the language?
Sure. The committee may convene in closed session pursuant to section 19.851A Wisconsin statutes for purposes of deliberating concerning a case which was the subject of any judicial or quasi-judicial trial or hearing before that governmental body. The committee will thereafter reconvene in open section 19.852 Wisconsin statutes to take action on items discussed in closed session if appropriate and to consider the remainder of the agenda.
All right. Director Falls has a comment.
Did someone second that motion?
Um,
I think I did.
Yep.
I thought, yeah.
Yep. I could have sworn Alder Corpus Dax did.
All right, thank you.
All right. So all those in favor, say aye.
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 All right. We will be going into closed session.
We're recording now, and did we make a motion yet to come out of?
I'm trying to do that, waiting
Okay.
till we were recording.
All right.
I
We're
move
live.
that we return to open session.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That passes unanimously.
The motion is to deny the grievance and direct staff to draft a findings of fact and conclusion to be presented for adoption before this committee at its next meeting.
Second.
I have a second and a motion. All those in favor, say aye.
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 None are opposed. That passes unanimously. All right. On to informational. We have a report of routine personnel actions for regular employees. Do we have any questions for staff on that? If not, I'll entertain a motion to receive and place on file.
So
Motion
moved.
to receive and place. Second.
All right. All those aye?
Aye.
Aye. Our next meeting is March 23rd, 2021. I should be able to attend that if I can make sure my daughter's going to have Wi-Fi. I'll pull a Brian, and well, she doesn't have a pool, so I guess I won't be pulling quite the full. I will be at that meeting. Hopefully, I'll let you know if anything comes up. So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to
So
adjourn.
moved. Let's go.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
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 All right. And that passes. Everyone take care and have a safe week.
Thanks, you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, Brian. Bye.
Brian, don't get sunburned.
No,
Like
lots of
last
lotion.
time. Like last time.
I invested in some lotion.